We are in the last stretch of Bloomberg TV India's special series in the run-up to Budget 2015, Ideas for Transforming India. I'm Siddharth Zarabi. All of this month, we've got you the big-ticket ideas that can bring radical change. We've covered areas from energy independence to infrastructure and housing, from digital India to Make in India. Today, we seek path-breaking ideas that can make the Prime Minister's Swachh Bharat mission a success.
क्या हम तय करें कि 2019 जब महात्मा गांधी की 150वीं जयंती बनाएंगे, हमारा गांव, हमारा शहर, हमारा गली, हमारा मोहल्ला, हमारी स्कूल, हमारे मंदिर, हमारी अस्पताल, सभी क्षेत्र गंदगी का नामो निशान नहीं रहने देंगे।
Prime Ministers have historically used the annual Independence Day speech to celebrate the past year's achievements and announce new social schemes. Instead, Prime Minister Modi chose the grandest platform he could get all year to trigger a nationwide drive towards cleanliness and sanitation.
आपको लगता होगा क्या लाल किले से सफाई की बात करना, लाल किले से टॉयलेट की बात बताना, ये कैसे प्रधानमंत्री है? भाइयों बहनों, मैं नहीं जानता हूं मेरी कैसी आलोचना होगी, इसे कैसे लिया जाए।
The Prime Minister launched the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan on Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary in October.
महात्मा गांधी।
In addition to asking every citizen to take an individual pledge, the government also reached out to India Inc. to set up sanitation infrastructure across the country.
देश के कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर को भी आह्वान करना चाहता हूं। कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पांसिबिलिटी के तहत आप जो खर्च कर रहे हैं, आप उसमें प्राथमिकता स्कूलों में टॉयलेट बनाने के लिए दीजिए।
Within days of the Prime Minister's call, leading business houses got into the act, from taking the Swachh Bharat pledge to contributing funds to the mission. On its part, the government has amended the Companies Act to bring corporate activities and funding towards the Clean India mission under the CSR ambit.
Joining me now to talk about the transformative ideas needed to spread better sanitation and a cleanliness culture in the country, from Delhi, Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak, founder of the Sulabh Sanitation Movement and Social Reform Movement. From Mumbai, Sameer Singh, Executive Director for Personal Care at Hindustan Unilever. Also from Delhi, Harpal Singh, Chairman of CIS Task Force on Mission Sanitation of Schools and Chairman Emeritus of Fortis Healthcare. Lastly, from Hyderabad, we have Dr. Harish Srivastav of the Ramki Group. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the show to debate what can be done, what are the ideas to get Swachh Bharat actually rolling on the ground. Coming to you first, Dr. Pathak, for your first big-ticket idea with regard to the Swachh Bharat initiative.
Honorable Prime Minister of India has ignited the minds of Indians, including children, to keep India clean and to make India clean. And therefore, everywhere we go, people are now very aware of about the sanitation movement.
Okay, Dr. Pathak, let me now go across to Sameer Singh for his first idea as far as the implementation of Swachh Bharat is concerned. Sameer Singh, over to you.
I think our first big idea as Hindustan Unilever, and frankly this is part of the DNA of this company, is that while it is important to get the infrastructure up and to get all the resources done, what is equally important is that we need to induce behavior change, because all the big ideas of toilet construction or getting people to wash hands with soap will not happen until we actually give them the training, the tools to make these ideas sustainable, to actually change the way that they interact, because 99% of people have soap in their household, but very few actually wash hands with soap after defecating or before meals. And the trick is in actually getting them to practice these things on a regular basis. And that's why for HUL, the big idea that will make Swachh Bharat a big success is behavior change.
Okay, behavioral change, culture of cleanliness, quite apart from the real infrastructure of creating the number of toilets that this country requires. Harpal Singh, if I can come to you and ask you for your first big ticket idea as far as actual implementation of Swachh Bharat is concerned?
Yeah, I think I would say two quick comments on that. One is building on the point just made about behavioral and cultural change. I think one must recognize that India is a very vast and a very diverse country. And what idea might work in terms of achieving cleanliness as an idea, which works in one part of the country, may not work in another part of the country. So the entire campaign of cleanliness, and certainly about how to improve sanitation, must recognize that one-size-fits-all sort of strategy can't work for the country as a whole. And there are some wonderful diverse ideas available in the field, even as we speak, which should be drawn upon. So the big ticket comment at this first stage is one size doesn't fit all. We must recognize the diversity of this country, and even in terms of attempting behavioral changes, or for that matter, the technology that has to be applied for improved sanitation across the country, we must make sure that we have a very large bouquet of approaches as we approach this challenge.
Dr. Harish Srivastav, coming to you for your first and major idea as far as Swachh Bharat is concerned.
Yeah, my first big ticket idea would be more in line with the comments that have been already expressed. So it is more to deal with the behavioral change and the kind of sensitization and awareness that actually triggers the behavioral change, and also a kind of a participatory approach in terms of roping different stakeholders in the entire value chain, so that the process can be efficiently triggered. Like in our own operations, so we have also involved different stakeholders when we are dealing with the municipal solid waste and making them partners in the entire approach. That has actually given better results along with sensitization and awareness programs.
Okay, let me come back to you, Dr. Pathak, and from the point of view of someone who's actually made a huge difference when it comes to the availability of toilets, the sheer number of toilets, and the number of years that you have experienced in this area. Dr. Pathak, the big point really is that as far as the implementation is concerned, we can say it absolutely straight off that governments and municipalities all across this country have failed when it comes to cleanliness overall, whether it be the sewage and disposable systems, whether it be the availability of toilets, whether it be the number of staff, the investment that goes into this. Now we have, of course, even the MP local area development fund that will go into this. Purely in terms of implementation, Dr. Pathak, is this a subject that can be taken into the sphere of public-private partnership, or would you want to propose some other idea, some other way of actual implementation on the ground?
No, not other way. What I have been doing from last 45 years, that the government, municipal bodies have to work in close cooperation with NGOs, and the government can work for resource mobilization, monitoring and supervision, and the NGOs can work for motivation, education, communication, training, designing, estimation, implementation, maintenance and follow-up. So these functions we have been doing from last 45 years, and this model has become successful. What is to be done, the Shula model should be passed on to other NGOs, or the boys to be trained on large scale. At least 10 boys in one block, totally about 50,000 boys and girls should be trained in these functions. And also the 200,000 masons who build the toilets. Fund will come from the government, donors, banks, and CSR, and as you said, MP-led fund. So already procedure is there. Sulabh has become successful, both technology-wise, methodology implementation. Only thing you have to do that pass on the same model to other boys, other girls, other NGOs, and they can do wonders. I am confident.
Okay, Dr. Pathak, that's a valid point, because what you are really saying is that the technology and the implementation architecture needs to be taken across India, and there should be 100 Sulabhs or thousands of Sulabh initiatives across the country. Sameer Singh, coming back to you, it's not just an issue about the 1.2 billion hands or 2.4 billion hands that need to be washed. The scale of the problem in India is related to culture, it is related to availability, it is related to awareness. At what point do you think should the government enter in this space? Because beyond captioning it as an awareness drive, what everyone wants to do is to get specific implementation steps and timelines perhaps for the real transformational benefits to seep into the lowest levels of our society. How can that happen, or how should that happen?
I think it's what you said. I think it needs to be done in a way which is integrated, and it needs to be done in a way which is sustainable. Because the fact is that even when you do behavior change, even when you set up the infrastructure, how do you guarantee that people stop the open defecation over a period of years? How do you guarantee that people still keep washing their hands with soap before eating or after defecating? And that for me is about creating models which are sustainable over time. And what we have seen is that particularly around the area of WASH, which is water, sanitation and hygiene, once the awareness starts to creep in, people, consumers start to do it for themselves. And I think the other big thing is that the solutions that the government gets into, that we get into, have to be integrated across space. So, of course, it has to be about toilets, but it also has to also be about clean drinking water. It also has to be about washing hands with soap. And only then will we have success in this area.
It's time for a break on Ideas for Transforming India. Bindeshwar Pathak, Sameer Singh, Harpal Singh and Harish Srivastav all stay with us. Welcome back to Ideas for Transforming India. We're discussing the radical ideas needed to make the Swachh Bharat mission a success. Still with me, Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak, Sameer Singh, Harpal Singh and Dr. Harish Srivastav. Harpal Singh, what we seem to be coming around to is a localized strategy, and a strategy that is in the hands, as far as implementation is concerned, of more and more NGOs. But look at the scale of this problem. It is a huge problem. And I don't know, in terms of the infrastructure at the localized levels, whether it is the municipalities or whether it is the panchayats, whether they are trained to address this problem, because there is a cultural mindset also. Everyone in a panchayat or a municipality or in the government comes in with the mindset of a ruler and not as a servant who is going to address this very crucial problem. What can be done in terms of the governance model, if you can tell us, if you have any thoughts on that, to get this right up there in the priority list of those local authorities?
Yeah, I think you are absolutely right. I mean, there's only so much government can do, and yet, incidentally, the fact of the matter is that government spends vast amounts of money. If you just take, the sector of schools, government runs, between state and national government, we run a very, very large number of schools. But yet, and we in the CII, for instance, have taken up an initiative to set up 10,000 toilets in schools across the country. Now, when we actually go to the ground level, we find that, the range of situations is considerably varied. From a situation where you have good running toilets to a situation where there are no toilets, and another situation where there are toilets and they are not maintained. And of course, there are situations where there are toilets and they're actually locked up, and the keys are kept either with the principal or with the head teacher or some teacher. Now, the fact of the matter is that the school, the typical government school, does not accept this as a responsibility. They don't feel accountable for the fact that toilets must run and that toilets must be kept clean, and that the entire community of the school, which includes faculty as much as students, should be engaged with the entire idea of cleanliness. So there is a need for government expenditure, which is vast in scale in the existing circumstance, and there you have to make sure that there is a way to make the school principal and the school administration accountable for for keeping the toilets clean. Leadership across the board has to inculcate the idea that just as much as in this country, incidentally, there is a belief that cleanliness is close to godliness. And we need to, I think, revive that idea across the leadership to say it is, you are being, in fact, godly if you are being clean. And therefore, it has to be a very vast sort of agenda of leadership addressing this issue in a much, much more wholesome manner. But more specifically to the question of how do you build this accountability, I think to the earlier comments, that try and see how you can engage as large a subset of the stakeholders as possible into the process.
Okay, so clearly no amount of awareness will be more, so to say, or would be extra as far as changing the cultural mindset is concerned, because that is what Harpal Singh is driving at. Dr. Srivastav, coming to you, the mounds of garbage that define some of the best locations of our cities, it's a massive problem, and it's something that shows that the handling of garbage is also something that India has not been able to address. So while we can send a low-cost satellite or a body right all the way to Mars, this is something that we can't do in our backyard. You have some experience in this space. What is it that you would like to tell our viewers with regard to the reality on that issue?
Yeah, the question that I've been asked, it is an apt question, because this is the problem which the country and the world is going to face tomorrow, because the piling amount of municipal solid waste, which we actually see in our street corners and many places, if it is not properly transferred and if it is not properly treated, then this will actually create a larger environmental hazard, not just the problem of cleanliness of the cities. Now, we have been addressing this issue at various levels, because as a pioneering company in the waste management sector, so we have been dealing with the municipal solid waste collection, treatment and disposal, and we have been also involved in conducting the sensitization campaigns on the source segregation, and we have been also doing a lot of IEC campaigns to different stakeholders in terms of how to manage their waste, and especially on 3 principles of reduce, reuse and recycle. So we have been also in the process of converting municipal solid waste into biodegradable and into compost, which can actually used by the farmers. But however, if the source segregation is practiced at the household level, that would also address the issues where the people can manage their waste efficiently at their own places, and they can also use their waste in terms of raising the kitchen garden, etc.
Coming back to you, Dr. Pathak, the initiative that you started, and it's done a remarkable amount of good across this country. Yet we see that in our congested city spaces, when you see a lot of migrant population coming in and settling into towns because of the rural to urban migration, the problem of sanitation continues. Even our cities are not able to take care of this in a holistic manner. Moving beyond just the construction of toilets, what would you propose in terms of a holistic approach to this entire issue of sanitation, this mission that we are calling Swachh Bharat?
Actually, you're asking question, Professor Srivastav, about the disposal of the waste. And that waste has to be cleaned regularly. And at present, we have technology to convert into fertilizer only. It has been tried to produce energy and to supply, but it's not been successful. So at present, the only technology which we have, because the wastage in our country has not more than 45% calorific value, and therefore it cannot produce methanol. Therefore, it is not viable. So therefore, it is desirable that we should collect waste and dispose of at the end of the city, make the fertilizer, give to the farmers, and they can use that. But that is not done in accordance with what is to be done. I come back to the earlier one which we are asking. Come to my school, Sula Public School. Teachers and students, they clean toilets. Nobody comes outside to clean toilets. This was the wish of Mahatma Gandhi. Everybody should clean his own toilet. Why somebody from outside should come to school to clean toilets? We have manufacturing unit of sanitary napkin for the girls and also for the disposal. So all these things can be done by the teachers and the students, and we are doing here. Also, we have a village near Delhi called Hir Mathla. You can come to this village. Everybody, every house has a toilet. Nobody goes outside for defecation, and it's totally, completely free. So the question is, you have to evaluate and follow up. We go to village and try to find out functioning, not functioning, is a problem. So entire problem is about, first thing is that government and NGOs should work together. Only government agencies cannot deliver goods. And there should be follow-up program. We give guarantee for 1 year and 1 year follow-up. We are doing everywhere in Punjab also. With the Bharati Foundation, we are doing in Ludhiana district. So the question is, I told you earlier, that we have everything. The strategy, the action, the methodology, only have to replicate, not only by Sula, but other boys and girls, other NGOs should be trained on the same model. The model has become successful. Tried and tested 45 years, not in a day, not in a year. So why not you take this initiative and methodology and pass on to others, and they can do. So everything is there. Everything is there.
Okay, so clean your own toilets. That's the message that Dr. Pathak is handing out at this point of time. Clearly, the scale of the problem is so huge that one or even one set of solutions cannot work. The problem has to be dealt with at multiple levels. As our panel told us, it is a mix of government, both at the center, at the state level, local governments, local municipalities, individual initiatives, non-governmental organizations, schools, and overall a change in the cultural mindset that lies at the heart of this massive problem that India faces. And this is not a problem that is just something that we can turn our nose away from. It is a problem that impacts national health, it impacts national productivity, it impacts the health of the girl child, and is clearly one of the key issues in the progress of this country. Hopefully, some of these suggestions that have been given by our expert panel here will find their way into the implementation architecture and not just the discussion that we have been having on this subject. And the idea and the dream of a Swachh Bharat will become reality. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on this discussion. Dr. Pathak, Sameer Singh, Harpal Singh, and Dr. Srivastav on the ideas that need to be implemented to getting a Swachh Bharat up and running in the shortest possible of time. Thank you very much for this time today. For now, that's all that we have on this show as we count down to the last few days of Budget 2015. We'll keep getting you transformative ideas that can change this country's future. Thank you for watching.